2, 3, and
Picture this, a man and his horse working as one being. It's not a rare occurrence. We see it every day in cowboys, equestrians, and even mounted police forces. But let's throw in a couple more factors. The man is an Iraq or Afghanistan veteran who suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, and his horse's past life was one of abuse and neglect. The two of them have been working towards a goal to overcome their past for the last year, and now they are ready to show the world what they have accomplished. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is a significant threat to our nation's military. 1 in every 8 soldiers returning from Iraq and Afghanistan suffer from some form of PTSD. By those numbers, 1/4 of our armed forces are affected by this terrible disorder. Some of the most common symptoms of PTSD include flashbacks, isolation from others, and reaction to being startled. Soldiers with PTSD will often start to lose confidence in themselves and others, and will have a hard time trusting other people. There are many ways to combat this disorder, from talk therapy with a counselor to medication. Regardless of the method of treatment, the soldiers can never make a full recovery, and will usually only gain back a fragment of the person they formerly were. Along these same lines, abused horses suffer from their own form of PTSD. According to the American Horse Council, of the 9.2 million horses residing in the United States, 90,000 to 100,000 of these are abused and unwanted horses that are sent to slaughter every year. The actual number of unwanted horses is unknown. Since the ban on slaughter within the U.S. border in 2007, these horses are now being shipped across borders to such countries as Mexico, Canada, and Japan to be slaughtered. The American Association of Equine Practitioners estimates that if these horses were not sent across borders, 2,700 rescue facilities would have to open every year to keep accommodating these animals. To change course and start going towards what this speech is really about, I'd like to take a moment to talk about equine-assisted psychotherapy, or EAP. EAP is a method of therapy used with patients who have psychological disorders, and has been known to be highly effective with soldiers who suffer from PTSD, in some cases more effective than talk therapy, since most patients don't like to talk about their combat experience. In EAP, the horses are most often not ridden, but allowed to run free. A simple exercise would be to give a soldier a halter and lead rope, and allow them to figure out how to approach and capture the horse. This can be progressed to more complex activities, such as leading or riding a horse through an obstacle course without injuring the horse or the human. This task requires an immense amount of patience and trust in each other. So, with all of the facts that I have given you, I would now like to propose my idea. What if we took abused horses and placed them in the sole and direct care of soldiers with severe cases of PTSD? Each soldier would be in charge of the care and rehabilitation of one horse, and would be paired with their horse based on the severity of their case. For example, the soldiers with the worst cases of PTSD would be paired with the horses who had been the most abused, etc. This would help both the soldier and the horse to learn to trust again, and also teach confidence and interaction. In a way, the soldier would be healing the horse, and the horse would be healing the soldier. And in the words of Sir Winston Churchill, there is something about the outside of a horse that is good for the inside of a man. In order to make this plan a success, we would require several supplies. Most importantly, we would need land on which to house these horses. We would also need adequate facilities for the horses, from the stable blocks to the arena and round pens. Feed, hay, and water are the next most important items that would be required, as a horse requires food and water to survive. Tack and grooming supplies would be in order, since horses require to be groomed, and eventually we would like to see the soldiers riding the horses. Supplies to build an obstacle course as well as toys would be necessary, seeing as these animals are undergoing rehabilitation, and if they are going to be rehomed, they should be completely safe before being adopted. Last, but certainly not least, we need the horses and the soldiers who would make this program a success. As far as financial support goes, this is intended to be a nonprofit program with minimal support from the government and our nation's military. As such, monetary donations and any physical objects, such as tack or grooming supplies in the form of a gift donation, would be highly appreciated. In concluding, with a little bit of help and time, we could start to solve two great problems facing our society. That of what should be done with unwanted and abused horses in our country rather than sending them to slaughter, and also that of how to more effectively combat post-traumatic stress disorder in our military. To quote Helen Thompson, "In riding a horse we borrow freedom," and that is exactly what we would be giving these soldiers and their horses. Freedom. Thank you so much for your time.